What is web element in Selenium? A. An interface representing an HTML element. B. A type of web browser. C. A Selenium component. D. Testing framework. And correct answer is option, an interface representing an HTML element. The web element interface in Selenium allows you to interact with both visible and invisible elements on a web page. Web element in Selenium is essentially an HTML element on website. HTML documents consist of HTML elements. Each HTML element consists of a start tag and an end tag. The content lies between the tags. What is an XPath in Selenium? A way to locate elements on a web page. B. A type of web browser. C. A Selenium component. D. A programming language. And correct answer is option A way to locate elements on a web page. XPath stands for XML Path Language. XPath is used as a locator to find web elements on a page. It is a powerful tool that can navigate the web page's HTML structure. What is implicit wait in Selenium? A way to pause the execution of the script. B. Way to tell WebDriver to wait for a certain amount of time before throwing an exception. C. Method to wait for a specific element to appear. D. Way to slow down the execution of the script. And correct answer is option B. Way to tell WebDriver to wait for a certain amount of time before throwing an exception. Implicit wait in Selenium is a feature that tells WebDriver to wait for a specified amount of time before throwing an exception if it can't find an element on a page. What is desired capability in Selenium? A method to handle alerts. B. A type of locator strategy. C. A way to configure properties of the WebDriver. D. Way to define test steps. And correct answer is option C. A way to configure properties of the WebDriver. Desired capabilities are key value pairs that help define test requirements and configure driver instances for test automation frameworks. Which of the following is not a component of Selenium? A. Selenium WebDriver. B. Selenium IDE. C. Selenium Grid. D. Selenium Server. And correct answer is option D. Selenium Server. Selenium Server is essential to execute Selenium RC tests and WebDriver tests in remote machines through Selenium Grid. What is Page Object Model in Selenium? A type of locator strategy. B. Design pattern that creates an object repository for storing web elements. C. A Selenium component. D. A way to generate test reports. And correct answer is option B. Design pattern that creates an object repository for storing web elements. The Page Object Model, POM, is design pattern in Selenium that represents web pages as objects in code. Each web page in an application is represented by a class file that contains the corresponding web page elements. These elements are defined as variables on the class, and user interactions are implemented as methods on the class. What is the purpose of Selenium Grid? A. To manage test data. B. To generate test reports. C. To run tests in parallel across multiple machines and browsers. D. To create test scripts. And correct answer is option C. To run tests in parallel across multiple machines and browsers. The purpose of Selenium Grid is to run automated tests in parallel across multiple machines and browsers. Selenium Grid allows you to run tests on multiple machines at the same time. You can use Selenium Grid to test on different browser versions. You can run a single test on multiple machines and browsers, which makes it easier to analyze and compare the results. Selenium Grid was designed to address the limitations of running tests sequentially on a single machine. Which method is used to execute JavaScript code in Selenium WebDriver? A run script. B. Eval script. C. Execute script. D. Execute a JavaScript. And correct answer is option C. Execute script. JavaScript Executor is an interface that provides mechanism to execute JavaScript through Selenium driver. It provides execute script, execute async script methods to run JavaScript in the context of the currently selected frame or window. What is the purpose of the Page Factory class in Selenium WebDriver? A. To manage browser configurations. B. To implement the page object model design pattern. C. To generate test reports. D. To create test data. And correct answer is option B. To implement the page object model design pattern. The Page Factory class in Selenium WebDriver simplifies the creation of page objects and optimizes test instances created using the page object model, POM. Page Factory reduces the amount of code needed to build page objects, making the automation code easier to read and maintain. Page Factory sets up web elements efficiently, which improves test stability and readability. Page Factory separates the page object repository from the test methods. Page Factory helps improve the maintainability and reusability aspects of the test implementation. What is the purpose of the Select class in Selenium WebDriver? A. To select browser options. B. To select multiple elements on a page. C. To handle drop-down elements and select options. D. To select text on a web page. And correct answer is option C. To handle drop-down elements and select options. The Select class in Selenium WebDriver is used to handle drop-downs in web applications. The Select class implements the HTML select tag, which provides helper methods for selecting and deselecting options. Methods. The Select class provides methods for interacting with drop-downs, such as Select by VisibleText method, selects an option based on the displayed text. Select by Value method, selects an option based on the value from the HTML. Select by Index method, selects an option based on the index, which starts at 0. GetSelectedOption method returns the selected web element. AllSelectedOptions method returns a list of the selected web elements. IsMultiple method, Boolean attribute that indicates if the selection allows multiple selections.